Hi, this is Andy, and I just wanted to share with you today some other ideas to go along with the Mandala dot beginners video that I did a few weeks ago. And I've got a lot of people that have really enjoyed the video. I've had suggestions, and I love it. I really do. One of the things I neglected to mention, I had taken a piece of cardstock and put that inside of my frame. Then I put the cover on, which gave me a nice black background, which caused my dots to pop. And I should have mentioned that because I think a lot of people, they didn't know. They probably thought I painted it or, wondered how did she get that, color back there. But I chose the black because I just wanted it to really pop off of there so it would be a little bit more helpful, I think. Now, today I also want to share another idea that one of my viewers had, and it was making like a grid on that paper, on the cardstock. And basically what it is taking a ruler, measure out your sheet of cardstock and find your center. So here, this is almost at 10, so I would go 5 here, take a white chalk pencil, do a little line there, come to the other side and do the same thing. Then connect that so you have a nice straight line right there. And also your sides, do that. Just mark it off, then connect and draw your line. Then right there in the center is going to be where your dot goes. Now, you can go side to side. You can also go corner to corner. Make your grid lines, corner to corner. Now, the other thing, you see a circle in the center. And that's because I want to show you how you can do a stamp inside of your medallion, mandala. And basically, you start your circles further out, but you put your ink stamp inside. Now, what I did is I use this. These are the spell binders, and they have all different sizes. So you find the stamp that you would like to use, and I'm going to use this one here. You've got your center right here, but you need to know how much space around it. And I chose this, and it fits perfectly. So I took my chalk pencil and went around that circle, took my ink, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute. But once you get this done, like my viewer said, you're working on the glass. You're wiping it off every time you want to practice. This is a guideline. You can use it or not use it, but it can really help. Now, when you put your cardstock in, you want to tape it in place so that you know that it's centered and it's going to work good for you. So once you get it centered, put your frame backing on. And this is a hard one, so I'm just gonna, let me see if I got this position good. Now, with these, you can paint your frame any color you want. If you want it white, paint it white. If you want to match your room that you would like to put your painting in, paint the background that color. or whatever color you want. It's your painting. It's your piece of art. It doesn't have to be black. It can be any color. Now, one thing you notice, I start my dots. These ones are not the real tiny. These are the real tiny. This one is medium small. This one's about the same size, but a little bit bigger. This one here has the dark over the white. So you can see when it's up close, it's a little bit larger. The white dot is. So you gradually come out building those dots a little bit bigger, a little bit bigger. Most of these were made with my chopsticks because that's what I always use. But then my stylist, depending on how hard I push, how big those dots are going to be. And I also use the pencil. I love the pencil eraser. It makes great dots. So you're going to see, if I push real hard, I'm going to have a bigger dot and a smaller dot if I just barely touch. So, check out my chopsticks tools on YouTube. I have a tutorial on how to do those if you're interested in doing them. I just find that they're the easiest things in the world to use. Now, I'm going to show you how you can take this rubber stamp and apply your ink. This is the ink I'm using for this because it's light. So now I have my grid here, and I'm just going to make sure I've got this centered. I'm going to push down, but you don't push too hard because you are pressing against glass and you're pressing in the center of it. So you don't want it to crash and cut your fingers and you'd have a mess. All right, so there's my stamp. And the only thing with your stampers, you're not going to get a real brightness out of it. So you're going to take a fine line paintbrush and you're just going to touch it up a little bit here and there to bring that color out to make it pop. Another thing I found this at a garage sale. It's the neatest thing. You don't need these circles if you've got one of these and know how to use it. I found this at a garage sale. I don't know how to use it right. So instead of this, you can use this and you don't have to worry about measuring so much. This is a great tool. Love it. I'm going to practice on how to use it. I've never used one. How strange. But anyway, if you're going to do one of these, the lines out here do not matter. That circle is your guideline. That is what you're going to use. Now here, if you notice, the dots are really tiny. So I came out with bigger dots. Now they're too big to go in between each of those dots. So I came straight across, did my dot, and then I skipped a dot. I skipped, and then came straight down, did another dot. Skip a dot, came down, did another dot. Now over here, I used a little bit bigger dot. So my next row, I skip a space, skip a space, skip a space. So my third row, I'm going to go between that. I'm going to skip that dot, go between, skip that dot, go between. So I'm not lining it up from dot to dot. I'm going in the empty space. You see what I mean? So here I got my first row. My second row, I go to the empty space between those two dots and put my dot. Go to the next space, put my dot. Now, you don't want to get too close to the dots before it. You keep a distance, but not real big, because then it's just too much. Now here, there's quite a distance, but it's okay. It works. You just don't want that dot to be way far out. So depending on the effect that you want, some of them, if you get them a little closer, it makes your eyes go kind of, and that is so cool. But don't get them too close. You don't want them butting up next and touching, unless that's the design you want. Mandala means circle. That's the definition. So you want the circles. You want the circle to go around and around, evenly spacing these. Because if this is over more this way, you're going to end up with a whole different design. You want it right centered, each one. And you're not going to be perfect, because if you were, you might as well take a camera and take a picture of something. You're an artist, and artists are going to have the little mess ups, and that's fine. It's fine. You don't want to look like you took a picture, unless it's the kind of art you want. All right, I think I covered everything. No, I love those kind of pictures too. I have a friend that can do a portrait with just a pencil, and it's better than a photograph. Just fantastic. He's got so much talent. So I hope I've covered everything. The grid line, if you're not wanting to do one of these, this is something different, and you would enjoy this. This is really fun. But if you want to do a standard mandala, you've got the grid line to follow. And basically your grid line is just to get you going. Just to get you going. Once you get your first row out there, you don't really need anything back here. You really don't. Unless there's a design you want to follow, then yes, the grid lines are wonderful. So I thank my viewer for that idea. That was a wonderful idea. I also thank my viewer for bringing that to my attention, that I completely messed up on not letting you know that I used black cardstock in the background. So with that, on the cardstock, every time you wash this off, you can go back. It's still there, and you can use that grid. And say you don't like this, you wipe it off. And if your dots, say you did really fantastic, but then when you're done, you say, hey, it's just a practice, I want to clean it off. Sometimes that paint gets a little hard on there, so you might have to take your fingernail, scrape it, take a razor blade, scrape it off, or just spray it. Take the glass out, spray it with some Windex, let it sit for 10 minutes, and by golly, it'll come off with a sponge. You have a wonderful day, and thank you very much.